Hi there, I'm Sylvia Plester-Silk, and 10 Minutes to Joy is your weekly invitation to reset, recharge, and rediscover your most joyful self through aha moments and simple energy techniques. Today, we're talking about denial and how to shift it. Hi there. Imagine for a moment that you have a brick building. You discover during some rain that the eaves troughs drip. But you rationalize to yourself it's no big deal, aka denial, and you just put it out of your mind. You just ignore it because it was a really heavy rainfall and that doesn't normally happen. It's not the way it really happens. And then you discover that you haven't dealt with this, and a year, 2 years down the road, you're looking at the brick on the side of the building and the mortar is starting to wear away. The bricks even are starting to crumble. This kind of emotional damage, like a crumbling brick and erased mortar, can happen when we use denial in our personal lives. It may be a relationship that we're in that we sort of say, oh, the person's really nice. Oh, they don't mean those negative critical comments. Oh, that sarcasm they're throwing your way. It's no big deal. You're just simply being too sensitive. Ever been there? I think we all have. Why do we get stuck in denial? For so much, many of us, it's about if it'll be uncomfortable or cause pain if I say something. Or there must be something wrong with me that I'm overly sensitive, or why am I even reacting to this? It really is no big deal. And so we think there's something wrong with us or have a sense of shame that we are kind of broken. P.S. There is nobody that is broken. We are all wonderful and we all have issues and we all have patterns that need to be released. That's all. We are not broken. We may feel like we're broken, but we aren't. Lecture over. And back to denial. It causes us to get stuck because when we pretend what we're experiencing isn't what we're experiencing. And I think denial can work both ways in terms of denying things, pardon me, that aren't wonderful in our lives. But it can be also denying our abilities and our strengths. Oh, have we ever been there? I certainly have. Pretending that I don't know enough, that I'm not enough, pretending that I don't have skills and abilities to help people, yet people tell me I do, and I make it smaller than it is. Now, why? So we've talked a little bit about why denial. How do you start to break through denial? Part of it is getting in touch with the emotions and noticing what do you feel. So perhaps when you're with a girlfriend, each time you come home, do you feel excited and energized, or do you feel kind of depleted and worn out? I think that we can do denial really heavily in our primary relationships. I think for a lot of women and others who have been in abusive relationships, there's a tendency to pretend it's not that serious because, in most cases, not all, abuse starts out very slowly, insipidly. It's critical comments, perhaps followed by an apology or a lovely group of flowers or present. We can say, oh, it's not that bad. And we cover up and we cover up and cover up until we've hidden who we really are and how we really feel. Some of the ways that we can get through denial is to just take a breath when we hear ourselves say it's not that bad. We're probably denying something. What is it about this situation that is triggering something inside of you that feels so scary you don't want to go there. Because when we cover up and cover up and cover up and deny things, is when we can get into some pretty serious mental health issues of depression, ideation, thinking about, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to live like this. And we are all beautiful, vibrant beings that deserve to be loved and cared for. So it becomes really important to start to notice what brings me up and makes me feel wonderful, and what brings me down and causes me to feel depleted, criticized, uncared for. Because the challenge with denial is if I don't have a problem, there's nothing I can fix. But when I acknowledge a problem, when I stop denying or pretending it's not that bad, I can actually reach out, get help, and there is a solution. If you're in the moment right now where you're feeling like there is no solution to the struggle you have, reach out to somebody else outside your normal group, or to a friend who's actually very clear and honest with you and has worked through or is working through their own baggage, because we all have it, and see what other options are available to you, because you may be surprised. We have crisis lines where you can phone in at no cost to you 24/7 so that you can talk to somebody who's a caring individual on the other side of the phone. So if you're feeling shame and embarrassment and it doesn't feel safe to reach out to somebody face to face, you can make a phone call. And I think even now chat, which kind of scares me. Please don't go to AI. Please reach out to another human being who has the actual true capacity for empathy and understanding. Machines don't, although it sounds like they do, and that's getting pretty scary. So as we are honest with ourselves and we reach out to other people, some weird stuff starts to happen. Things like, oh, other people are experiencing this too. It's not just me. I remember about 30 years ago working at the shelter and a woman coming in who was being abused and saying, I should have known better. I should have known he wanted pork chops for dinner instead of steak that night. That story has always stayed with me. How we can't possibly guess another person's need. It's their responsibility to make healthy requests. And that individual actually had so much denial and had had such an abusive situation that she unfortunately believed that she was responsible for what had happened when there was no possible way she could have guessed it. And there was no possible way she was responsible for her husband or partner, I can't remember the details at this point, physically assaulting her repetitively to the point she was severely bruised when she came into the shelter. Having taken this risk, because for her at that point, it felt very much like life or death, and it probably was, she finally reached out. And sometimes we reach out because of somebody else in our lives. So for many women, we reach out because perhaps we have children that we're scared of how they'll be impacted. And so that helps us shift our denial and recognize this isn't okay. But it can be really challenging to acknowledge our denial and realize it's not okay for us, and to give ourselves permission to say, hell no, I deserve more than this, whatever that is. And I'm not just talking about abusive relationships. I'm perhaps talking about jobs that we tolerate and stay in because, like I did in different jobs after working at a really toxic place that I thought I didn't have any competency or ability to help, and that I would never get another job. We can get so worn down in our denial that we forget completely who we really are. We no longer see our strengths. We no longer see our beauty. And when we're in denial, we cannot experience joy. The two of them are so far apart. So, today I encourage you to acknowledge one small piece for you that's not okay in your life. And that doesn't mean today you have to leave a job or leave a relationship. However, when we start to acknowledge what's really going on and that it's not good enough, weird stuff starts to happen. It may be that we talk to another person with a new perspective and we start to realize solutions are possible. And sometimes what happens when we start to acknowledge that it's not okay is miraculously a miracle happens that we could never have imagined with a solution for us. It may be, I've heard of situations where people go, and even myself, when I left that toxic job, I went, I'm done here. And within a week, I suddenly looked at a newspaper and saw an ad for my ideal job, applied for it, and was shocked when I received it. And even shocked when they gave me positive feedback about myself. So, what my wish for you is that you start to acknowledge those things in your life that you're truly not happy with, reach out, get help, and start to find those changes in your life that you so much deserve for your own joy and your own happiness. Remember, beneath the noise of overthinking, your body knows exactly what you need to do to heal and thrive. Listen deeply, breathe softly, and let your innate intelligence lead the way. Please rate and review this podcast so that more people can find out about it and we can build our community. Until next Friday, yours in wellness, Sylvia.